Welcome to Cryptonaut Podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and hang out with me as always is
Rob Morphy.
Robert, thank you so much. And
Chris,
thank you both for being here. We're back. We're doing it. Crypto Boys. Spooky season. This comes out actually the week of Halloween.
Oh, my.
Which Halloween is a Thursday this year.
Okay.
And the kids have Friday off, and they have like a half day Thursday. So I think I might get like a little mini Halloween vacay.
Wow.
Which I'm kind of stoked about.
That's awesome. How often does that work out? Day off after Halloween. I mean, unless, of course, it falls on a Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for me. I'm just going to be like, hey, I'm not coming in, man. I got to celebrate. I got things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I got to like do pumpkin shit. And,
Fuck
like,
yes.
prepare for the end of the year.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I got to start packing shit away.
Goes without saying.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah, definitely. So I hope everyone out there is having a great little spooky season here. Before we get started, we got some new merch that dropped over at hellerspace.com. The Crypto 90s t-shirt. Huge response. People loving it. So check that out. Again, that is hellerspace.com. TeePublic always has some merch sales going on. Patreon, starting in November, if you do anything monetarily, like sign up for a tier or adjust your tier in the iOS Patreon app. This is specific to iOS and Apple. There will be a 30% charge, so don't do anything in the app monetarily with your card. Do it all through the web. Launch your favorite web browser on your Apple device and type in patreon.com and log in through there and just bypass the app completely. We don't want anyone getting hit with a 30% charge that you do not need to incur, and that is not on us. That is not on Patreon. That is totally on Apple.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep reiterating that because we don't want you guys getting hit with goofy app fees that nobody really needs to deal with. And that's it.
Yeah,
That's
you nailed it.
All the announcents in the beginning.
Bizwhack done.
There it is. Bam, this week.
Doing
Damn.
Back to the bread and butter, as I always say.
Yeah, no, when this came in, I was like, oh, okay, we got a little something happening here. We're talking about Indiana Muck monsters, Plant 9 oil, Plant 9 oil pit squid, and the Cistern creeper. I had a weird break there.
No, it's all right.
Super weird break.
Yeah.
Sometimes we fall apart. We always fall apart occasionally, but we're here for each other. And we boost each other up.
See, at first I thought it was Plan 9 oil pit squid.
Oh, I can see that.
I was like, oh, cool. You incorporated a little bit of Misfits love for Halloween.
Well, also Ed Woodlove.
Well, the movie.
But it was neither.
It's just,
I mean, that's always going to be my first thought.
I mean,
of course, your first fucking thought is Misfits. But yes.
Yeah,
the classic movie, which I've already watched twice this month. Thank you, TCM,
really?
for just randomly showing it.
Oh,
And I
that's
DVR'd
awesome.
it. I always enjoyed that, piece of shit. I mean, it's not nearly as bad as people say. And it's wholesome, old-time fun.
Nice.
But that having been said, it is the Plant 9 oil pit squid, which is a combination of, I guess, different monikers it's received over time.
I like it.
And, of course, the Cistern creeper. And so I'm very excited because we just fucking love this shit. Monsters are the way of the West. And to fucking bring out Halloween properly, I can't think of a better way to do it than with some fucking squidulons from wherever the fuck they're from, and I'm very happy to be a part of this.
Dude, we got Indiana. They're in the muck, and they are monsters. Let's get started with Slithering up from the viscous muck. We have a pair of curious accounts involving off-the-wall and as yet unclassified tentacle-bearing beasts, who were, not as one might expect, discovered by marine biologists in the briny depths, but found squirming in an industrial sludge pit as well as a hand-dug cistern, both of which were, against all odds, located in the indisputably non-ocean bordering state of Indiana.
No one can argue that.
Oh, some nice Midwest water.
Absolutely.
Muck.
Yeah, I mean, there's, I like when it's like landlocked and you're like, this should not be here.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's not, I mean, I don't know if it's technically landlocked because Lake Michigan borders the north. So, and that's a Great Lake. It's an inland sea, basically. I don't know technically. I know the definition of landlocked is literally land on all sides. I will say this. Unlike the fucking moon, which is absolutely real, no one can argue that Indiana touches an ocean.
Okay. I mean,
that's fair, right?
You know what?
At least amongst us three.
I've given up on my moon argument.
Have you really?
I have. It's over.
Oh my.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a great battle.
It doesn't need to be fought.
One of the hallmarks of our relationship?
Well, here's the thing. Those of us know the truth and those of us don't.
All right.
Some of us will die ignorant and others will die with the truth.
Okay, that seemed really condescending. I can tell that this battle is far from finished, and I thank God for that, because I thought I'd lost you. What the listeners don't know is right before the pod, you just gave up your war on Christmas, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? And then when you say you gave up your war for the fake moon, I was like, I don't understand.
I've turned a new leaf. I'm laying down all my arms.
Wow.
My war has been fought.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
I think it's a lie. I think you're waiting in ambush.
This is October Fools.
Yeah.
This is October.
Not for 1 second do I buy the shit you're laying down, bro.
It's a month of trickery from
when
you.
you least expect it, I fucking blow up the North Pole
hologram
and the moon.
Wow.
There you go. All right, man. Let's get started. Indiana Muck monsters. Let's do this.
America's proverbial heartland is known for an extraordinary array of animals, but nothing like what we're going to be discussing today ought to exist anywhere near there. And if there's anyone out there who, like us, have a mystifying soft spot for tentacled terrors, sinister squirming squid-like cryptids, or inexplicable octopoids in general, well, you're in for a treat. Let's do a quick thought experiment. Close your eyes, if you will, and imagine the kind of environment that a classic creepy cryptid, thank you, Mark, for playing, might occupy. For me, images of, say, an isolated sun-dappled glade in a deep, dark forest are likely to come to mind. Now, let me narrow the parameters. The creature in question is slimy, slithers around on an array of writhing tentacles, and has orbicular squid-like eyes. Now what are you seeing? If your answer was the concrete-lined, chemical-laden drainage pit in Plant 9 of Delphi Interior and Lighting in Anderson, Indiana, you get a gold star. The rest of us, however, will have to be content to shake our collective heads in a stupor of what the fuck.
I have spent the last week or so in a giant tank, so I would not be surprised if I was down there and one of these things attacked me.
Oh, you have to be a little bit afraid.
And killed me and took me from this earth.
Okay, that might be a little extreme.
My coworkers have guidelines.
In case you're attacked?
Let me die.
Why?
Because I have to.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever... Don't rescue you?
Because I have to.
My arms have been laid down, good sir. When the squid attacks, it is God's will.
No. I find this unacceptable.
That's how I get the resurrection.
Oh my God. So you're looking for rapture points now?
No, I come back.
When the devil squid comes?
Yeah, takes me out, then I'm born again stronger than before.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
October is a fucking weird month for you.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Okay. All right.
I'm not strong enough today to...
I say baby Nietzsche.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not. All right, I'm just going to continue. I can't do this right now. We're in the middle of a goddamn story, and we're in Anderson, Indiana.
I know. I'm in low hit points. I can't fight you right now. I just can't.
Oh man! All right.
In 1974, Anderson, Indiana was a thriving industrial community boasting no less than 20 General Motors facilities that employed over 20,000 souls. But, like most of us living in the proverbial Rust Belt, which we most assuredly do, for the citizens of Anderson, hard times were just around the corner. But before the all but inevitable plant closings and long unemployment lines, the good folks of this hardworking heartland community were about to be thrust headlong into a mystery the likes of which no one could have expected. An organic enigma that would, for one brief shining moment, put this industrial city in the global spotlight. The incredible case is one of those rare gems that seems too good to be true, and almost was. The scenario plays out like a flawless blend of 1970s paranoia-fueled post-Watergate conspiracy flicks like Parallax View, 3 Days of a Condor, lots of gems, combined with that same era's love of nature-run-amok / toxic mutant monster movies, except, and this is a key difference, multiple eyewitnesses confirm it actually happened. So this is some real shit, and we all got to learn to live with it.
Okay, I mean, I'm
from
here
now
for
on.
it. I'm fucking prepared, dude.
Yeah. This curious case was, as far as I could tell, first reported in the March 5th, 1997 edition of Anderson, Indiana's Herald Bulletin newspaper under the intriguing headline, Creature in Plant 9 Pits. But before we get into that, let's get some background from an anonymous post made on July 2nd, 2022 to nolanda.org. That's NOLANDDA.org. In it, the unnamed author wrote, quote, I was curious about a cryptozoological event that I recalled from my Leader High School days. The local paper had reported that a squid-like creature was discovered in a pit containing toxic chemicals at Plant 9 of Delphi Interior and Lighting, which was a subsidiary of General Motors at the time, in my hometown. To put this in context, Anderson is one of those dying industrial towns in the Midwest. The city bootstrapped itself into a manufacturing powerhouse by leveraging the large deposits of natural gas that were discovered there in 1897 as cheap energy for manufacturing. They squandered the gas, which ran out in about 1912, but electricity soon took its place. Many manufacturing companies lived and died in the town, but General Motors was the undisputed king. It employed 23,000 people, literally 1 in every 3 adult residents, and had factories so numerous that they were known by their numbers rather than names, hence Plant 9. Continuing the quote, for a variety of reasons, GM began to reduce its investment in Anderson, and in 1999 it pulled out completely. As it shrank, so did the population, from a high of about 70,000 to about 56,000 currently. Anyone with any sense knew that GM wasn't exactly being a good environmental steward. This fact was made impossible to ignore in 1999 when Guide Lamp, another subsidiary of GM, released 1.6 million gallons of water loaded with sodium thiocarbamate, a chemical reagent for removing heavy metals from contaminated water, into the White River, resulting in an enormous fish kill stretching somewhere between 40 and 100 miles, killing an estimated 4.6 million or 187 tons of fish.
Oh, yeah, that's an ecological disaster right there. You can't be you can't put processed water back into the environment like that. That's why we have industrial pretreatment.
There it is.
There it is. That's what we do.
I like having a pro on board to help explain these things.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm here for.
I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is a shit show. And what about the poor White River monster, that scaly-backed fuck-all that we all love and eventually are going to probe into the mystery of?
That's right. That's what it got taken out.
That's how it died. It died in 99.
It turned
Rips.
That dog turd white, man.
Rips Whitey. I think it was called Whitey. I don't remember. Dog turd white. Oh, that's the way E.T. looks when he's half dying in an outlet.
Maybe just mutated and is still like in a cocoon waiting to come out of its mutantedness.
Look at this optimism.
That's right. Mutantedness.
I love that, Chris.
Facts.
You just changed you just brightened the whole patina of this moment.
I feel better about this.
I got 1 hit point, so I was able to say that.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I appreciate it.
I'm up 1 hit point.
Save it.
All right.
It's okay. We're going to have someone come heal you. Okay.
But before all that, there was a creature in the toxic oil pits of Plant 9. Below are the articles I pulled off microfilm at the Anderson Public Library. End quote. So, this is me talking now. In a refreshing change from hearsay and third-hand reports, we will now rely on the vaunted Fourth Estate to tell the tale. In the aforementioned May 5th article in the Herald Bulletin, staff reporter Ken de la Bastide, I think I said it right, I hope so, wrote, quote, an internal Indiana Department of Environmental Management, that's the IDEM, memo confirmed a creature of unknown origin or type was found in the sludge pits at Delphi Interior and Lighting Systems, Plant 9. That's a pretty significant thing to have published in the newspaper.
Yeah, like
fairly recently.
Like their version of the DEC is like, yeah, no, we found some weird squid shit.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
You know, unknown creature of unknown origin or type. That's so tantalizing.
Never want to see that in a report.
And frightening, frankly. Yeah.
Okay.
Continuing, both the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and IDEM confirmed Tuesday that General Motors workers found what one employee described as a quote-unquote squid-like creature when the pits were being cleaned in November 1996. The Herald Bulletin obtained the internal IDEM memo, which was dated Monday. A 30-year plant worker said the earthworm-colored creature, so I guess grayish red. I mean, that's what, my fishing days are long behind
ruddy
me.
Brownie.
Yeah, ruddy. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that color, earthworm-colored creature was 6 to 8 inches long with tentacles and possibly eyes. Several current workers said the pit contained antifreeze, stripper oil, and polyol, which is a chemical mixture used in the formation of the plastic bumpers. So yeah, obviously, I'd want my goldfish swimming in this. This is what you want in your tank
Yeah,
at home. A perfect environment for an aquatic animal.
Surprised
antifreeze.
Yeah, I'm surprised anything could live in that.
That is an understatement.
I mean,
yes.
Antifreeze in the sugar, I guess, but stripper oil. Yeah, that is.
I mean, I've never used it. I'm not even familiar with what it is. It sounds caustic and nasty as shit.
Yeah, no, it'll burn the fuck out of you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Knew it. Okay. A 30-year employee said the sludge pit had several of the creatures, one of which was taken out, killed, then placed in a jar where it sat for several days in the work area. However, dun dun dun, I should have said that more dramatically. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
It was later stolen. It was a shock that anything was able to survive in the pit, the worker said. There were several of them swimming in the pit. End double quote. In what will come as a surprise to exactly no one, this contention that there were living, writhing animals slithering in this, again, caustic muck was, if not exactly refuted, at least downplayed by the GM bureaucracy. The article continues. Sharon Morton, a spokeswoman for Delphi 1 in Detroit, said plant officials said when they were draining water from the pit, they found bacterial growth. That's what they're saying. They described it as the type of bacteria that would form when organic matter is placed in fresh water. They considered it harmless. And her quote, but the newspaper account continues, Morton said fresh water got into the pit when a sprinkler line broke. Morton confirmed the sample, which was collected November 15th, disappeared in early December. She said Delphi 1 officials followed normal security procedures for a theft in the plant. However, she added, since there are no leads, the matter is not being pursued. To which I add, shocker.
Man, this is like industrial wastewater intrigue.
Oh, it really is. It's
the sample's
bit
missing.
Silkwood.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, obviously, with the human, cost of life there, but like a whistleblower from inside the industry, and then the samples that will prove some really shady shit is going on. Man. You will find out probably, at least in my estimation, why it went missing in just a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're obviously continuing with said article. Tamara Ohl, that's OHL. I have never heard that last name before. I thought it was pretty dope.
Oh, it's cool.
Tamara Ohl of the EPA said she questioned GM about what was found in the sludge pit during the February meeting in Anderson. Quote, they did find something in one of those pits, Ohl said. They, that is GM, collected it and were going to have it sent off and tested to confirm what it was, but the sample disappeared. Again, I had double fucking shocker, but here we get to the rub of why it may have vanished. That's my aside, obviously. Ohl said the discovery of the living organism is not directly related to the EPA's planned inspection of Plant 9 for toxic materials. Right there, that tells me everything I need to know. I know I have a slightly conspiratorial mind, but all right, profoundly. But that having been admitted to, the sample goes missing right before the EPA has an inspection in that exact plant for, alleged toxic materials.
Yeah, I mean,
the last thing you need is a fucking mutant fucking around in a jar.
Just running around being weird.
Right.
Squiggling around, being all like, fucking look at me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's a problem.
I mean, how could they even say it's not directly related? Really? Like, I mean,
well, yes.
like,
yeah.
I mean, I think the reason she said that is specifically, and we'll find this in a second, they're responding to whistleblower complaints about other shit that's shady going on. So I'll get to that, but I agree with the sentiment of what you're saying there.
Then again, if there is no weird squid creature, then there's no harm, no foul. You be like, it was hearsay. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And then if you do admit to it, be like, yeah, it was too cool and someone stole it. I don't know. Mr. EPA, come and find it.
Yeah. No, I mean, somebody was, in my opinion, paid to just get rid of it.
Oh, 100%. Or it's just standard protocol. They're
or
like,
a boss came down, snagged it when no one was looking. Right. And of course, they're not going to pursue the matter as there are no leads.
If you know the EPA's coming and you got something bad going on, be like, oh shit, cover that up. I mean,
absolutely. I mean, why save and preserve something that is potentially invaluable to fucking science?
Yeah.
Or if it's true, if this wildest speculations about these things are true, something that can survive in this most deadly of environs, Fucking, why would you want to know more about that?
Right.
And try to apply it in some useful way to, I don't know, the rest of life on Earth. But okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's go back to what she was saying. This is Ole speaking again. Quote, when they clean that pit, if GM finds something, they will take another sample and have it tested, she said. So it's like she's doing the work for them. They also want to find out what it was. Sure they do. Ole said she never ran across anything like this before in her work with the EPA, adding, I am curious about it. Yeah, no shit. Okay. Continuing, Jolynn Ewing, a spokeswoman with the IDEM and an IDEM inspector, will be at Plant 9 this week to look into a complaint, I don't know why I said it that way, alleging hazardous material spills, and will check into the report of the life form. This could have been any number of movies I would have rented in the early days of VHS.
Oh, yeah.
This exact plot, these exact scenarios. I mean, obviously, it would have ended in a much bloodier, mayhem-ridden climax than this will invariably end up. But still, this is the opening of so many sloptastic, mutant run-amok fucking movies that I fucking like. The Being, which is, I think, one of those rare... First off, Jackie Kong directed it, so a rare female-directed movie in the 80s, but set in Idaho, again, pollution monster movie, starring, I believe, Martin Landau among a bunch of locals.
Oh, shit.
Which is pretty dope. Anyway, you can probably find it on YouTube or Prime if anyone's interested in that kind of old-school garbage like I am. Enough of that digression. So we're back with Ewing. Quote, it depends on what we find, Ewing said. I don't know if it was just lost or if GM is trying to cover it up. And I'm going to digress again here. At which point, in an understandable effort to cover her butt, Jolynn quickly clarified, I'm not concerned that GM is trying to cover something up. We're hoping our inspection will provide some answers, end quote. So I do love that she dropped it. And then, of course, because they would have claimed foul immediately, GM.
Well, yeah.
She was like, not that we're saying they're hiding anything, but, we're going to check it out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and this is very, very EPA speak.
Oh, yeah.
Where because they're not there to, fucking nail you to the wall. They're there to be like, there was a complaint, we're going to look into it and figure it out. It's what we do.
Right.
Like, the EPA and the DEC, I work on them on a fairly regular basis. They're very easy to work with.
Sure.
And they're super... Actually, one of the rare instances where government government bodies are actually helpful.
Oh.
We're like, I have a question. I'll call Nick at the EPA and just ring him up and be like, hey, Nick, this is Mark. I got a question. And it's fucking...
Yeah.
And they do it. But it's, it is a government agency. So it is very
and depending on which way the wind is blowing politically, how lenient they're going to be. And the 90s were a different time.
No, they're very...
And obviously, I'm not accusing the EPA of being prone to accepting bribes or anything. But, I mean, individual inspectors can certainly be swayed. And... Obviously, there's lots of different things to calculate that are beyond our purview.
Yeah.
But who the fuck knows what was going on? Okay, again, back to this article. Sharon Morton, the spokeswoman for Delphi 1, so again, we're getting back to the company GM's mouthpiece, said Delphi will cooperate with the two environmental agencies, re-emphasizing our preliminary visual inspection revealed the specimen to be a harmless common bacteria, she said. We are troubled by the theft of the specimen, yeah, sure you are, which is delaying our ability to resolve the issue. We will cooperate fully with the EPA and the IDEM in their investigation, end quote. And if you believe that shit, many other things I would like to sell you. So I know, again, I'm being kind of a dick. So I even wrote it out. If you can sense a bit of sarcasm and a healthy dose of governmental and corporate distrust in my tone and take offense to it, I invite you to go camping next to the Love Canal or build a summer home in Flint, Michigan. Because fucking these motherfuckers. All right, none. I'm done. What we're interested in here. I know, I'm trying everything I can do. You don't even know. I wrote a 7-paragraph soapbox about my love of car culture and old drive-ins and the decimation of the environment. I'm like, no, this is not what this podcast is.
No, yeah.
And so I slayed literally 3 paragraphs of Uncle Bobby just fucking going off at the mouth. And I'm like, no, we're here to talk about goddamn... It's Halloween, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So, what we're interested in here...
Let's go clean some pits on Halloween, man.
is these things that are living in a particularly nasty byproduct of car manufacturing. And more importantly, what was said to thrive there. Continuing on with the Plant 9 oil pit squid saga, a second article appeared in the editorial section of the Herald Bulletin 9 days later on March 14th, again 1997, where the unnamed editorialist seemed to celebrate the spirit of schlock horror inspired by this ostensibly world-shaking discovery when they wrote, under the drive-in marquee caliber heading, "Creature from the GM Sludge Pit," quote, "It sounded almost like a sci-fi movie on the Late Late Show. They cleaned out a sludge pit at Delphi Interior and Lighting's Plant 9. I love that they always call it the full thing. It really delights me. And found a quote-unquote creature. Immediately, many people visualize a monster crawling out of the pit with scaly skin, bulging eyes, and sharp teeth. And the contents of the pit, antifreeze, stripper oil, and polyol, a chemical mixture used in the formation of plastic, certainly made it easy to conjure up spooky things that could live in such an environment. There were several of them, and the workers captured one, killed it, and put it in a jar. Then the jar disappeared. Who stole the creature? No one knows. But thankfully, at this time at least, it is considered harmless. Adding, the creature from the Black Lagoon, it's not. But the hardy unknown thing made for some interesting conversation in these parts. And when GM cleans that pit, it will take a sample and have it tested. That's good. Andersonians will sleep better at night once they know for certain the creature from the pit is harmless. End quote. I did like the sort of exaggerated, drive-in culture vernacular.
Well, yeah.
Doesn't offer much more, but what it does say, and I get this in a town that depends on GM for most of its citizens' livelihood, is that he's not poking the bear in the sense that, oh, GM's going to send it for testing, and that's good. GM's going to send it for testing. That's bullshit, is what we all know. They wouldn't have sent the legitimate thing, or they would have found a pile of, overgrown bacteria and sent that instead. There's a reason this thing went missing. Sure, it could have been somebody just stealing because they thought it was fucking weird and they wanted to show their kids or buddies or whatever.
Yeah.
You can't take that off the table, but unlikely in my humble, not so humble opinion. So anyway.
Yeah.
Finally, the day came when representatives of Indiana's Department of Environmental Management arrived to inspect the plant. In the March 17th edition of the good old Herald Bulletin, the man on the squid beat, De La Bastide, wrote, after making 2 inspections of Delphi interior and lighting systems, Plant 9, all the way through, the Indiana Department of Environmental Management is expected to release a report this week. IDEM is investigating an employee's complaint involving hazardous waste at the plant, which is located at the southeast corner of 29th Street and Pendleton Avenue. For those, I don't know, I don't even know if the factory's still there, looking to maybe check it out again, though it's long gone.
I mean, hey, slip
the
in
creatures,
there, man.
that is.
See what you can find. Get some fucking soil samples.
I think the factory actually might still be there and occupied by somebody else, but
Ask them if they got any weird sludge creatures.
right on.
Yeah.
We inspected as much as we could that dealt with the complaint, IDEM spokeswoman Jo Lynn Ewing said. At this point, we don't have any plans to go back in. This is information gathering. It might be referred to other sections of the IDEM. So, did her job, going home.
There you go. That's all you can do.
The complaint filed March 5th raises 3 allegations. That unusual growth was found in the used oil pit at Plant 9. That hazardous waste, I feel like I tripped over that, was buried underneath a newly constructed walking path, and there are containers of hazardous waste in the area. Ewing said inspectors checked the sludge pit at Plant 9 where General Motors reported finding a, quote, creature of unknown origin and type, end quote, and found nothing. Again, super shocker. Workers reported spotting several squid-like animals in the pit that was used to store, again, antifreeze and all that bullshit. General Motors officials told IDEM and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency they had taken a sample from the pit, but it has since disappeared. Workers said they didn't expect officials to find anything in the pit because it was emptied when Plant 9 operations were halted. So, yeah, fucking duh.
Derp.
GM has requested demolition permits to raise the plant. Mayor J. Mark Lawler was denied both permits because GM has not completed demolition work at 2 former Delphi energy and engine management systems plants, end quote. So I'll keep reading.
It's kind of like what they did here in Auburn over near McDonald's, that old GM plant that's there where the whole area is like polluted and shit.
Yeah.
Like on like the West End McDonald's.
Totally. I know exactly what you're talking about.
The roller where Riva Rollerdrome used to be.
Is it still there?
The
building is at least.
It was a metal processing plant, and now I think it's like an indoor like sports facility for like lacrosse and soccer. But that whole GM plant right there is like really bad. Like super bad.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, no, like the soil's all fucked up, and they're like, "Yeah, you can't do anything over."
Yeah, you want that right next to a food restaurant as opposed to the other kind.
I mean, as long as you're not growing your potatoes there, I think you should be okay.
All right.
Yeah.
It still gives you the squirms a little.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's what we do, man.
I know.
We build shit plants, pollute the earth, and like, fuck it. There's a McDonald's and a roller rink. Move on.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if that's an epitaph for the human race, I can't find a better one right now.
And there's been rumorage about the water table out there, how those chemicals at some point could or do currently seep into the water table out there.
Well, all right, so that is a real problem.
It's rumored.
Yeah.
No one's really tested it, and so far everyone's been okay. But
boy, so that's the criteria.
Just be careful.
Untested and okay.
Careful where you dig your wells, boys.
All right, fair enough.
Because I'm pretty sure that land you can't dig wells on.
I would say so.
Didn't plan on it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Chris, if one day you're like, today I'm going to dig a well, don't do it there.
Okay.
Yeah, listen to your old boy Mark here. Don't have a lot of knowledge of what I do have. Keep it up here for you guys.
Well, I appreciate it.
There it is.
Well done.
Right.
Okay.
Water.
In terms of wanting to destroy the plants, I wrote, I find this interesting. Skeptics and economists will surely say that their wish to destroy Plant 9 and the other factories are due to a downturn in the economy or a need for more modern facilities. But could a desire to conceal the truth also be one of their motives? Not only the vast amount of toxic industrial waste produced by the plants, which of course has got to be a number one, but also the bizarre organisms that were, if not born of, then at least biologically designed to thrive in one of the most dangerous chemical soups that one can imagine. In a November 30th, 2022 post on the WRKR 107.7 FM rock and roll website, a blogger identified only as Meatball. Yeah, we're only going for the highest academic pedigree at this point.
Meatball and the pasta in the morning.
Wow, yeah.
They're bringing the rigatone.
They're fucking, dude, I think you nailed it. I think you're going to be working there by the end of the day. Quoted an unnamed worker at Plant 9 who added more essential details to the admittedly sparse description of these wriggling octopoidal oddities. Quote, at the Delphi plant, they had a tank that used to store byproducts and chemicals for making bumpers. They found several squid-like creatures in this toxic goo. One apparently had an eye, which we knew. The specimens were taken and no one ever saw them again. No word was ever sent to us as to what it really was, but there were a few of them. They were apparently somewhat transparent and resembled squids as big as your hand. So the somewhat transparent, translucent, that would fit a lot of squid and a lot of, related mollusks and other things. But
yeah, and I've actually seen those before where it's like a semi-transparent looking, they're like a worm.
Yes, I was about to say it also fits a lot of, I don't know if annelids is the right worm creatures. So yeah.
Yeah. Which they thrive in bacteria, and they just have this weird. And then there's these things like that are like bloodworms that are like totally different. They're like super bright red and real gnarly looking. But again, they eat bacteria, and that's what they're
bloodworms eat bacteria.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Do they bite and exsanguinate like mammals and other things?
No,
too?
these are like little tiny worms.
Because I remember, of course, I always have my drive-in academia to go back to, but the movie Squirm from like the late 70s, it wasn't traditional earthworms that were mutated by the electricity of all fucking things. It was like the 70s and you're using electricity as the transformative agent. But whatever, it was still a charming drive-in flick.
It works.
But I think they called them bloodworms that the people were harvesting as fish bait. For anglers, and they went wild and began just devouring all the people and animals they could.
These were like little. We have them actually at work in our aeration basins. These little tiny weird red worms that they're in a big ball all the time, and they're so gross because they like squiggle around and shit.
Oh
yeah,
like that mass that was in the sewer like 20 something years ago.
There's hundreds of them in a pile, and it's just disgusting. They don't do anything.
Hey, man, if they're eating pollutants, then
they're
good on
part-
them.
they're part of
It's like a spider eating bugs. I'm rooting
They're
for you.
part of
Just don't get in my shit.
part of the biological process.
Right on.
Don't cover
Circle
me.
of life.
Don't cover me and dever me and turn me into a skeleton.
Oh, is that their flag? Don't cover me.
Yeah, don't
Little
cover-
snag. Snaggy snake. Little wormy snake. Snag.
Don't cover
Can't
me.
say snake.
No.
Oh, fuck.
It's
All
okay.
right.
It's okay. Meatball.
Hey, we're not done with meat. We're not done with the ball. Meatball then offered up his own hypothesis as to how these unusual organisms came into existence. Quote, there is some scientific evidence that says squid and octopus aren't native species to Earth
I love this.
and possibly came originally as single-celled forms of life on a meteor that crashed onto Earth and evolved into what we know them as today. And if they can evolve from something that crashed from space, who's to say they can't evolve to live in inhospitable, toxic environments too? Question mark, end quote. And I got to say, alien space squid, I fucking love it. Other online theorists, including those at cryptids, that's with a Z, .fandom.com/wiki/whatever it is. And I'm just going to say this, quick shout out to all the fucking cryptid wikis. Feel free to use anything I've written online and just fucking accredit it and put a link back. All of my writing is carte blanche. Don't put it in a book. I'm going to put that shit in a book someday. But fucking, if you want to use it online, it is yours. Just please. That's my plea. I'm not accusing cryptids.fandom.com specifically.
Oh, I am. It's okay.
I'm
I
just
will.
saying. Fucking all right.
Just all you gotta do is send a link back. That's all you gotta do.
So,
it's fine.
The good folks over there have concluded that the creatures may be anything from, quote, an alien spore, a massive bacterial growth, a mutated earthworm, an unknown parasite similar to a water bear, and I would love these to be like super tentacled tardigrades with one cycloptic eye,
Yeah.
or a fish-like creature, end quote. So, I mean, just more shit to chew on. It was after the local press covered these unusual happenings that the inevitable occurred. The lurid eye of the notoriously bombastic tabloid press got a hold of the story. In this case, it was England's The Sun, a standard supermarket checkout line rag, which in its June 1997 edition blasted an eye grabber next to their masthead claiming, mysterious creature found inside toxic waste pit. Government starts real-life X-Files probe, which I love. Inside the hyperbolic headline read, toxic waste pit grows a real-life X-Files creature. It came from Plant 9, which of course is reflective of how popular that series was at the time.
Nice.
Not surprisingly, the story was featured on the same page as a woman who allegedly lived 19 years without eating and a burglar who evidently choked to death on his own flashlight.
Oh, what a bummer.
All important stories. Be that as it may, and to give full journalistic credit where it is due, as much as it chagrins me, The Sun essentially rehashed the story as it happened, albeit in a slightly more exaggerated form than the mainstream press would have, with passages that read in part, squishy squid-like creatures that look like nothing else found on Earth are thriving in a place where nothing should, a pit filled with toxic waste, which, you know, I don't mind hyperbolic journalism. That's fine.
Sure.
I mean, they're not wrong.
No, they're not.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
what I'm saying. They're telling the truth, just, you know, in the flashy way that tabloid press embraces. This was accompanied by an illustration of what looked like a cyclopean pickle or a scumfoot's dick wedged atop the body of an octopus, then flipped upside down.
That's awesome.
It's a pretty striking graphic.
It's dope.
Nevertheless, as happens from time to time, as in the early days of the National Enquirer's pursuit of UFO stories, a member of what is rightly regarded as the least reputable elements of the press were reporting the actual facts of the case. Broken clocks twice a day, etc., etc. Journalistic integrity, or lack thereof aside, this sudden burst of fame caused the tabloid to instantly sell out in the community, and the mystery that had held the town in its thrall lingered for a few more weeks. On March 28, 1997, Herald Bulletin staff reporter Colleen Steffen summed up the scenario as well as possible when she wrote, "First, the squid thing disappeared, then copies of its national tabloid story. It's been one strange occurrence after another since General Motors workers found a creature resembling a squid and a chemical sludge pit at the Delphi Interior and Lighting Systems Plant 9. In case we didn't know. Cleaning out the pit in November, they fished out one of the tentacle blobs, killed it, and put it in a jar for the perusal of fellow workers. Before it could be studied, the jar disappeared. Now the national tabloid magazine Sun has featured the, quote, real-life X-Files, complete with an artist rendering of something straight out of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This was, in the press anyway, the last gasp of the Plant 9 oil pit squid. Whatever their origins may be, alien, interdimensional, spontaneously emerging life form, or my personal favorite and honestly the most plausible, a mutant mollusk or lurking lumbricina incubating in a stew of toxic waste, these slippery, multi-armed monstrosities clearly thrive in what ought to be one of the least hospitable environments that could face any Earth-based biological life form. But as anyone who's seen Jurassic Park, or like me as a dyed-in-the-wool Jeff Goldblum junkie, knows all too well, quote, if there's one thing the history of evolution has taught us, it's that life will not be contained. Life breaks free. It expands into new territories and crashes through barriers, painfully, maybe even dangerously. But life finds a way.
Oh, I'm so glad that you included that, because I was thinking it the entire time. I'm like, no, dude, the Golds told us about this, man.
He told us.
Life finds a
what
way,
didn't he?
dude.
Honestly, if I could
That's
have
true.
anyone narrate, any story or fucking my life,
Oh my
it
God,
would be
for
the
sure.
balloom.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting because, it's almost like they came across some sort of unknown life form, and they just killed it, put it in a jar, and then someone was like, fuck, the EPA's come and get rid of this thing.
Right.
Like, it's interesting. It's just kind of like, what would it have hurt to keep it around a little bit longer? I mean, whatever's in the pit, right? Like, you're not breaking any laws by having shit in the pit. But whatever was put in there happened to create some reaction, and this thing fucking comes forth from the depths of the murk. I mean, it's not on you.
Right.
Like, it just happens to be there. Like, it's not like it's contained in a pit. This isn't something that's affecting the environment. It's just whatever shit you got, something weird, some weird bacterial growth grew out of it. They had a fucking eyeball, allegedly.
Right, but there was multiple.
Yeah, there was more than one.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
So
yeah.
they
So
obviously did something with. I mean,
they
It
were
actually makes me
all
think it
not
is-
just the one in the jar.
presumably killed
Yeah,
when it was drained.
Well, yeah, once they drain the whole thing out.
because they're just like, we took one, killed it, put it in a jar, but there's the rest.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're just kind of sitting
So-
in there. That is a weird little like an evolutionary jump in this environment for this thing to thrive in, because it's like,
Sure.
well, fuck, man. I really like your idea though with the space octopus. I like that a lot.
Well, I mean, it wasn't my idea
Well,
specifically,
no, but I mean,
yeah.
bringing it up in this is
Oh,
interesting
yeah,
because
yeah.
What type of shit would be living in this? What spark of life would have to be in this pit of chemical muck
Right.
to all of a sudden have it be born into something?
Yeah.
Like what would be, I don't know. They said like fresh water mixed in there from a sprinkler
Yeah,
system.
yeah, sprinkler system leaked, and fucking, and then that caused a bacterial growth was what the talking heads for GM.
I mean, I don't know enough about bacteria, but I'm guessing it doesn't produce squids with eyes.
no,
I'd hope not.
no, absolutely not. No, clearly there are two different narratives here. One that the
Yeah.
executives are trying to push
Mhm.
through their spokespeople, and then one that the actual eyewitnesses are saying, no, this is what it was.
Yeah, interesting.
And that's two different things. As to what you were saying earlier, what would it have hurt? I don't know specifically, but if you're already on the line for a bunch of like EPA fucking transgressions, and you've already polluted the fuck out of like the walkway and other things, and you have like open toxic waste everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't need this. Also, I'm forced to think of the analogy of like a construction worker that stumbles across an archaeological find, and it's that dilemma
yeah. And
of
we didn't see this. Yeah. Keep going. We didn't see that.
I don't know if that's a
Yeah, well-
proto-Neanderthal super fucking missing link fossil. Scoot it to the side and let's keep building this condo.
We just found
Yeah.
the top of a pyramid. We're not going to say anything about it. Just keep going, boys.
Right.
Yeah,
Which I'm
exactly.
sure has happened a lot. I mean, I'm not even saying the majority of the time, but I mean, when time is literally money and you will be out of work and your bosses will be pissed. I mean, I can see some probably pretty important discoveries maybe getting shifted to the wayside. Now, this made the press because people were talkative, but I could definitely see them wanting just to get rid of it, even if they're not culpable for this evolutionary offshoot slash, alien baby or whatever the fuck it is. I can see where it would just muddy the waters more for them and make things more complicated, especially if this came out. Then what can they do? They want to tear the plant down, which may or may not be related to the discovery of weird life forms, though who knows, they might be more prevalent than we knew, and they were literally trying to stop an infestation. But of course, that's my cinematic mind running into overdrive. Nothing based on evidence, I can fully admit.
Burn it with fire.
But I mean, why not? There's probably a lot of like slime sludge pits everywhere, and maybe these things can like crawl like octopi from tank to tank, eat some fish, go back home. Who the fuck knows? Maybe they're populating more spaces and just weren't found because there was a big cleanup, and the crew that was sent in was, given non-disclosure agreements. Who the fuck? I mean, I'm going deep into a conspiracy rabbit hole that has no basis in any evidence, but who knows?
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
All right,
but
man.
all that aside, I can definitely see where it would be a pain in the dick for them when they're already under the gun with the EPA and the IDEM.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, if you have some weird chemical pit and something starts growing in it, like, I don't know, man, study that shit.
Right.
Like,
I mean, unless somebody
get
dropped like live bait and they were just dying. And then they found one, Ray dropped it, and
Weird
like Phil comes across and is like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
but they weren't described as shrimp or crawfish or straight up worms or anything, or even squid, which I guess you would use as bait in certain circumstances.
How big this pit has to be that it holds all, because they have to clear this thing eventually. This thing is eventually gonna get full.
Yeah, I wish there was pictures and actual like it was.
Yeah.
Was it like 9 by 7?
Yeah,
was
it's
it
hard
22
to really
by?
Picture it.
Is it something that like gets to a certain height and then you pump it out?
Yeah, how
like,
deep?
What is it? Yeah,
because that would definitely, in my mind, it doesn't seem too deep, but that is not, again, based on anything.
No.
I mean, is it balls deep? Is it chest deep? I don't know how big drainage sludge ditches in Delphi interior and lighting plant 9s are.
Yeah, we have sludge pits that are pretty fucking deep that we have pumps that pump them out.
So they could be deep.
I mean, I'm going to say if you're holding material in it for a long time, yeah, they're going to have to be a pretty decent depth for sure.
Okay.
Like, it wouldn't make sense to have a 10-foot pit that you're like, we fill it with chemical byproduct and then we empty it every 3 years. Well, you clearly must have a ton of byproduct then, because whatever's going to happen in that process to get rid of it is going to have to be stored and then, released somewhere.
So that's my other question.
Where they put it?
Where the fuck did they put it?
Yeah.
Like, where do you put this shit, which is no good for anything, environmentally speaking anyway?
Yeah, I think a lot of that you'd have to like take it off site and treat it.
So barrels?
No, you can have a truck. You can have a truck come in and suck it out, and have that truck bring it to a facility that takes care of it.
These things,
there's companies that do that.
Might ostensibly be living, perhaps even thriving in a totally separate environment wherever this was dumped.
Yeah.
Because if they just sucked out this like potentially fairly large pit, however big it was, and then just moved it off site,
they just dumped it in the sewer.
I mean, who knows,
right?
Yeah, could have. You never know.
Right.
I mean, all right, man.
So weird,
fucking weird, dude.
But we're not done yet.
No, we're not.
We have another case.
More
we're
squid.
Staying in Indiana, needless to say, because it's Muck Monster time.
Okay, cool. I like it.
It's like a version of Mystery Bag Monday, except there's no mystery, and the theme is clear. It's in the title.
Fucking Indiana Muck Monster.
All right,
baby.
so moving on. Shocking as it may seem, Indiana is the reputed home of a second inexplicable crab-clawed, adding a little bit to the mix this time, sucker-bearing pseudo-squid-like beast that, to the eternal horror of one Randolph County family, was not only found living in the waters of an old well, but seemed to be attempting to make its way up the moist rock walls like a demon trying to claw its way up from the depths of hell. Period.
Paint me a picture. Paint me a picture, Tiny Dancer.
I first encountered this curious case in zoologist Dr. Carl Schuker's groundbreaking 1996 book, In Search of Prehistoric Survivors. Highly recommended, by the way. But the first reports of this so-called cistern creeper, also known as the Randolph County Weirdo, to gain public recognition were published in the June 8th, 1960 edition of the Indianapolis News, where it was announced that farmer Dan Craig and his wife, unnamed, of course, as was the way, who lived on a parcel of land approximately 4 miles south of Lynn, Indiana, had had their once idyllic lives turned upside down by a most unwelcomed guest. It seems that their 12-foot deep well had become haunted by what the good folks at paranormalworld.fandom.com/wiki have dubbed a cephalopodal specter. I really like that.
Oh, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I got to give
like
them credit.
that.
Whoever wrote that, kudos to you. Who was seen thrashing in the dark waters below. In the article, Dan Craig, the owner of the farm, that he'd been aware of the entity's existence for over a year, describing the Lovecraftian trespasser as an eerie beast with a dome-shaped head, 2 bulbous eyes, and 8 flailing tentacles as long as a man's arm. Boogans, anybody? You guys remember that fucking early 80s shitbag classic? Boring as fuck, but when the monster showed up, it's like a turtle, squid, nasty ass flesh-eating combo, and it comes up through like fucking heat vents and chases, and it's all like Squidovision, like the camera is low to the ground chasing people. But I remember the commercial scared the shit out of me when I was little. Either way, I can't highly recommend it, but I can definitely say if you like shitbag early 80s monster movies, find Boogans.
Sure. Nice.
But anyway, very similar to what was described here. Dan's evidently, again, unnamed wife also described the vexatious varmint, claiming that it, quote, resembled a mushroom the size of a plate and had long legs and feet, end quote. Yeah, I know.
Feet?
And feet.
Okay, so it's like a Goomba.
Oh my God.
It is a Goomba. Yeah.
It's just a
a
mushroom
little
with
tiny
feet.
Goomba.
With multiple feet
Yeah. Oh,
and
gross.
bulbous eyes.
Big eyes, some fangs.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Oh, there
yeah.
you go. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd mention that later. Not that it has it, but that it ought.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
If someone can describe to me a more stomach-churning scenario than a fungus-smothered semi-cephalopod swimming willy-nilly in one's drinking water, then I challenge one to do so. And by that, I really mean don't.
Yeah.
I know your imaginations are vivid, and I really don't need any other icky shit haunting my already infested mind palace, so no thanks for that. I know you can do it, but that is nasty.
Keep
A
those
fungus
DMs
squid.
to yourself.
Yeah, no. Ugh.
No one needs to know.
And you
it.
drink that water. You can't after
I was
that.
going to ask that. Like, this guy knows this thing's living in his well, and he's just like continues to drink from it.
I mean, did he dig another well? I don't know.
I mean, I would hope you would.
I don't know what the Perrier situation was in 1960
12-foot
in mid Indiana. Probably not great.
Yeah, you can't. This thing is shitting and pissing in that water, and apparently eating.
Yes.
Probably its own shit and piss.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
What else can you live
there
on?
go. What
when enslaved in a well?
do you feed this thing? Like, what keeps it alive?
Oh, good question. But we'll be addressing, or at least speculatively addressing, these momentarily.
The wife fed it, didn't she?
Oh my God. Oh, secret pet. The baby she always wanted.
Yeah, in the bottom of the well.
Oh my God.
Spectral
You
squid.
can't kill my cephalopodal specter.
Yeah.
There it is. Yes, I said it again.
All right, okay.
Oh, she loves it.
Its name was Annie.
Oh,
Yep.
Annie.
Annie.
Not Annie.
No, poor Annie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Actually, would make a pretty good movie too.
Yeah.
Squirrely.
You could easily shoot this thing for the record.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's right.
Yeah, it's
there.
an option.
It's really, literally right.
I mean,
there.
a 1960s Indiana farmer who's got a gun? Ridiculous.
This thing would not have lasted a day.
Not in your world.
No.
Oh, wait. Is baby Marky coming back?
No, my
Dude, I saw the kill in your
I
eyes.
laid my arms down.
Oh, you moistened your lips with the anticipation of the slaughter. I know you're in there, you motherfucker.
No,
Yeah, he's back.
Oh,
I'm
shit.
ashamed.
All right, now everything's okay.
I'm a changed
Yeah, blow up the
man.
well.
God damn it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Blow up the well.
Yeah, that's
the
also
well.
an option.
Dynamite's a thing. Fuck this well.
Dig
Right
elsewhere.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
As soon as the story was published, the Craigs became instant celebrities and no doubt the subject of much derision in their once sleepy community. And curiosity seekers, I don't know why I struggled with that, came from miles around hoping to catch a glimpse of the horrific things splashing around in the shadowy depths of the well. It's likely speculation ran rampant as to what this creature might be, or more intriguing still, where did it come from? As Lake Michigan lay some 208 miles to the northwest, and the reputedly lake monster harboring Lake Erie, big shout out to Bessie and her little leg-biting babies, we'll be dealing with that at some future podcast, is about 175 miles to the northeast, it seems unlikely that the waterlogged weirdo might have been able to make its way from any of these vast bodies of fresh water into the Craig's well. But, again, we're left with the question, where else might an ostensibly aquatic creature such as this have come from? Whatever the mystery beast's actual origins may have been, the Indianapolis News reported that there was one brave soul intrepid enough to descend into the old well to find out just what the hell was lurking in the inky waters below. This man among men was a feisty 12-year-old named Craig Lee.
Fuck yeah, dude. He's the kid you want, man. Smoking butts, chewing tobacco. He's like, I'll go down your goddamn well.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of this thing.
It's
Hits the bucket. Dings.
Y'all need a man? I'm here. There you go.
There it is.
Give me a pocket knife and a torch, and I'm ready to go.
Wow.
That's right.
In honor of the event, Dan did his best to drain the well, getting it down to perhaps no more than 4 inches of mucky ooze. Once that was completed, a ladder was lowered into the blackness, and the courageous kid, undoubtedly displaying a Class A case of the moxie of youth — you didn't think I'd avoid that, did you?
No.
Began his slow descent while those above stared down and waited with bated breath. No sooner had the gutsy boy been consumed by the shadows than the now terrified preteen scrambled back up the rungs at a lightning pace. The panting kid leapt to safety and told the onlookers of the horror that waited below, describing it as a creature roughly the size of a dinner plate whose porous, grayish-yellow flesh resembled a decaying mushroom, complete with 2, again, bulbous eyes wedged on top. To make matters even more alarming, the boy claimed that the terrifying thing came equipped with 8 to 10 lashing tentacles, as long as his own arm, each of which were tipped with sharp, crab-like pincers.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a whole, I mean, truly Lovecraftian, a whole other breed of cat.
Yeah, no, man, this is some shit.
It was only fear-fueled expediency that managed to get Craig back up the ladder before he was snagged and dragged kicking and screaming into the unthinkable things, almost certainly, and this is a shout out to Chris, toothy maw. But the mouth is never described. It doesn't have teeth as far as we know. But it had to be. It had to be a toothy maw. Like the thing from fucking Deadly Spawn that had like literally 75,000 layers of teeth in its upper jaw and at least 1,100 in its lower. It was just a big phallic red thing, a low budget movie made in the very early 80s, maybe late 70s. And Google it. It's like a dick with all the teeth. A big red,
my favorite,
nasty dick with all the teeth in the world.
My favorite.
It's a really cool monster, especially for a low budget movie.
Sure.
That's my favorite kind of dick. There you go.
Yeah, the toothy dick.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Though I'm unable to cite this portion of the tale, and I would love help from anyone out there that can offer it, and could not in my altogether too vast and massively disorganized archives find hide nor hair of it, I seem to distinctly recall a version of this account claiming that a hole was discovered near the base of the well, leading to a tunnel where the creature was presumably able to burrow in and out of the cistern. At this point, I have to admit, I don't remember if that was somebody writing about this case and speculating that this may be how this thing got in and out, and therefore covering, you know, the other issues of like what did he eat and whatnot, or if it was actually in one of the accounts, which may or may not be apocryphal at this point.
Right.
But it was in my head, and it was in my craw. Usually I wouldn't write this without having the you know, the so-called facts to back it up. But it was in my craw so deep, I'm like, no, I'm pretty fucking sure I read this. So if anyone knows, let us know.
Right.
But that would explain a lot. Of course, there was a skeptic on hand who attempted to literally deflate the whole account. Evidently, a Randolph County conservation officer, one Kenneth Yost, arrived at the Craig's farm to check out reports of the monster for himself. When he descended the well, that was with or without an escape passage, again, we don't really know, he claimed to have found a partially deflated, flesh-colored ball and a small section of rubber hose at its base. Needless to say, he proclaimed that all of the hullabaloo was nothing more than a case of mistaken identity, and smugly washed his hands of the whole affair. And yeah, I'm kind of being a dick to poor Mr. Yost. He might have been real cool about it. I don't know.
The old deflated flesh-colored ball.
Yep. Not a sponge, specifically.
No.
A ball.
Just, you know.
And one length of rubber hose. Not moving.
Okay.
As far as I know. Unless it's a haunted hose. In which case, we're dealing with a whole other fucking issue.
Haunted ball, haunted hose. Yeah.
Can't rule it out. It's Halloween season.
It is. Stay spooky. Okay, well.
Yep.
There you go.
I'm doubtful of Yost's conclusions. No doubt. Everyone knew that already.
Yep.
As was the writer at the already cited paranormalworld.fandom, who wrote, I have some questions about Yost's conclusion. Sure, it seems to be a perfect explanation for the odd events at first, but then you have to ask yourself how anyone could have repeatedly mistaken a rubber ball and a hose for a tentacular monstrosity throughout a period longer than a year. It seems absurd and quite insulting to the intelligence of the Craig family, in my opinion. And not to mention, this is my addition, young Craig Lee's close-up account. It's a little confusing, the last name Craig, first name Craig, but the 12-year-old who went down there, his close-up account was definitely not a floating shitbag ball and part of a hose.
No,
Plus, it was down to 4 inches, so the hose could have been submerged, but, a little beige ball.
I guess
he has the courage to go down there when he thinks it's a living, writhing monstrosity, but he's terrified at the sight of a deflated ball. I think Mr. Lee, young Mr. Lee, I'm going to give him more credit than that.
Okay. Yeah. No, if the water was splashing around, had a little bit of a wave to it, depending on if it's fed from like a spring or something, maybe you'd look down and you'd see the ball in the hose and you're like, oh, fuck. But it's only 12 feet. It's not that deep. You'd be able to see,
No, I am constantly describing it as like a shadow shrouded hole to hell.
Yeah.
I know it's only 12 feet, but yeah,
as well.
Probably the sunlight goes all the way down.
More likely.
Which would further seem to dissuade me from thinking that it's just a hose and a fucking ball. If you can, if the sunlight's pouring in,
you'd be able
and
to
the kid's like 3 feet away or however close.
Unless it's moving around the water,
Yeah.
If it's being fed from a spring, but then that makes me think the well would just eventually come to the top and fucking fill over.
Yeah, if it was, wouldn't that like, Huh. I don't know.
Right.
We know. I don't. You're the water expert. I know nothing.
Yeah, no.
About wells, how they work. I don't even know.
You still don't want a ball and a hose in your water supply, man. That's going to grow a bunch of funky shit on it.
There it is.
Well,
see?
Yeah.
So bad news all the way around.
All right, cool.
Yep, right on. Of course, and this is the unnamed writer again, and I appreciate that they're using this phrase. Of course, Occam's razor says that the rubber ball explanation makes this an open and shut case. Closed situation. But I'm not so sure. There are other reports of entities resembling the ostensibly out-of-place cephalopod described in this case, and so it's always worth considering that perhaps the Craig family wasn't mistaken. Well said, I say. In the end, what are we to make of these octopoidal oddities? I know I used that phrase earlier. Forgive me. I usually beat myself up for doing that. Are they evolutionary offshoots of their ocean-bound cousins who, through some inexplicable series of events, somehow found their way into both the bowels of General Motors' Delphi Plant 9, I will not say the rest, and a drinking well in central Indiana? Unusual animals of unknown origin who are just doing their best to survive in the filthy, chemical-infused detritus of the automotive industry, as well as the bucolic backwater of a farmer's cistern? Were the translucent, twisting grotesqueries found in the Plant 9 sludge pit, born in this noxious primordial soup of industrial waste, somehow, against all odds, surviving in this viscous chemical ooze of corrosive junk? Was the spongy thing at the base of the well a subterranean creature who'd burrowed its way into the Craig's well, luxuriating in the fresh water like it was its own personal spa, then crawling back through the earth in search of prey? Are they earthbound animals that have mystifyingly managed to evade detection, or mutants born of the human race's near constant spew of chemical waste? Perhaps we are dealing with something from somewhere else altogether, something much less explicable, but no less fascinating. Still, when all is said and done, these two curious cases remain among the most frustrating on the books, as we had the honest-to-God evidence in the palms of our proverbial hands, one of which disappeared under, let us say, suspicious conditions, and the other who managed to slither through the cracks of an old well and academia at the same time, leaving the rest of us to forever wonder, what if?
No.
And those are dick kickers. Those cases, especially the fucking late 1960s, something at the bottom of the well, shit. They both happened in Indiana. They needed to be paired up, and I love that case too. But okay, maybe we can dismiss that out of hand. But multiple eyewitnesses, newspaper reporters, EPA and IDEM investigators coming in to check it out, a mysteriously missing specimen, the rest of them washed away somehow. That to me feels like, and maybe it would have been a prosaic explanation. I can't pretend that it couldn't have been just like some weird colony of worms or bacterial colony or worm colony, like you were talking about the bloodworms, Mark, that, got in there, confused people that aren't naturalists or biologists. And, we're squirming around and they got rid of it. No biggie, no harm, no foul. Yeah. But it also could have been literally a game-changing life form that may or may not still be alive in some capacity at some part of, the heartland of America. But we came so close to knowing And I do remember even like the old crypto websites back in the day, which I would just, peruse for my own edification and enjoyment. I remember reading when this stuff came out, and I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
But, did I take a road trip there? Did I fight? Did I carry a sign? No. Just waited to see what happened next. Of course, by that point, by the time it came out in the press, it was
Did
long
I carry
gone.
a sign just robbed
Free the
outside
squid!
the plant?
Free the fucking squid!
Cover up.
GM, I see you! I see you!
GM cover up. Squids must
Murderers.
be brought to us.
There, yeah.
like
Squid.
murderers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long sign.
That is a long
That's a long sign.
Yeah, it's a super long
Yeah.
sign.
Maybe we can do it now. Maybe it's not too late. 2024?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, GM's so big now, shit, they already took care of that. Yeah, this last one here is interesting, and you kind of posited what I was thinking, like if this thing is moving from, if it's in the earth where it's burrowed, where it's going into the well, or if this is like some wells around here are actually connected. So
Sure.
you have one giant spring, and then you drill down. That's where you get your water out of. So if this thing can jump from spot to spot underground, because it doesn't make any sense if it just live for a year doing nothing in a well.
No.
Makes zero sense.
And I mean,
there's nothing
where
to
would
feed
it. Where would it get food stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
And at that point, you'd think this guy would be like, this thing's been living here now for a year, like fucking pay rent or spear this fucker in the head and get it out of there, because you're drinking out of just garbage water.
You're drinking its piss and poop and whatever.
I mean, it's just it's not sanitary.
So I acted like I said, sure, like I know everything about fucking wells, which I've already admitted I don't. I did not know that multiple wells are sometimes connected by a universal spring.
They can be, yeah. Totally.
See, I had no idea. I didn't even know. I thought you dug a well and fairies produced water. Literally, I have no fucking idea how water tables
come
work.
from it depends on the water table, where it's located.
Right.
That it just where the water sits in the ground, where you drill, and then where your
So
your
we
spot
don't
comes
even
up.
need this mysterious is it or isn't it hole in the side of the cistern. If there is a spring fed, then this thing could be moving back and forth, occasionally visiting this well because shit falls in there that it likes to eat. I don't know what falls in wells, but whatever. Yeah. Or just coming back there because I don't know, it's part of its pattern.
Yeah, it could just be living in this underground black water cave.
Because literally until right now, I thought every well was a self-contained thing that just accessed, water somehow underground, and that was it. Even though I guess I should have known if it's accessing water, it's got to, I guess, have some sort of conduit.
Yeah, I mean,
I just never thought about fucking wells.
Yeah,
you're tapping into a greater water source underground. So this thing has the ability that it could go from well to well, or if it just happens to find this one and it was like, I'm going to fucking hang out here, or I mean, what if it comes out of the well and then it hunts on land?
I mean, trying to creep.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it could be.
It could.
It's weird though. They have tentacles to be like land.
Yeah, tentacles aren't really like conducive for land.
The pinchers, they can maybe grab the little nooks and crannies, climb out. I mean, I would love to have known if Dan Craig reported any like missing livestock or chickens, maybe small stuff, or even it could have been rodents or something. And I know again, going way out on a fucking crazy pier, but if this thing crawled out and this was like one of its favorite like eating spots because there was like an abundance of prey in this like farm. And it was sequestered in chicken coops or whatever else. And maybe he didn't even associate something thrashing in the well with something that could have been removing animals. He might have blamed it on fox or whatever.
Won't octopus leave their tank?
Oh, yeah.
You
have to keep it sealed because they can definitely leave. They're smart enough to crawl. They can survive, without water long enough to get into another tank, eat the fuck out of whatever's in there, and then get back home.
Hey, imagine just like a tank. Just imagine like there's a tank in your living room. You come home and there's just like an octopus walking on the carpet.
Oh yeah, that would
you're
freak
like,
out.
Larry,
come on,
get back in the tank, you fucker. I'd be freaked out. I don't like octopuses. They kind of freak me out.
Oh, I love them.
And I'm scared.
Absolutely one of my favorite animals.
Oh yeah, they're dope.
Beautiful, cool.
They're cool.
Brilliant.
They freak me out.
I could get. I don't know
because they're aliens.
They're aliens. Exactly.
The swim with the octopus experience. It's not like. I mean, I'd want to swim with a dolphin. I'm not sure if like the Humboldt squid. See if we can take a chunk out of you. Probably not.
Yeah, no.
Though I think octopus are generally speaking less aggressive than squid. Again, speaking as the marine biologist, I surely am not. But from what I've read.
Yes.
But that having been said,
it's weird,
tentacle
man.
tears are freaky. And we've covered a lot. I mean, we've had I actually made a list when I was thinking about this, like the indescribable octo-man,
Yeah,
and the
100%.
Tommy abductors,
Yeah.
and octopoidal, or I don't know, tentacle tears, like octodemons and octo-aliens.
There was also the one that
On
was,
and on and on.
that was up in Canada with the weird like cycloptic eye with the pincher claws, the aliens that were like
Oh yeah, the
multi-limbed
Garson
things.
invaders,
Yes,
we
Garson
called
invaders,
them, and
yeah.
they were big and more crustacean-like, but
These are
certainly
almost-
alien.
These are almost creepier though because they could be some weird terrestrial thing that we
Sure.
just don't that are cryptids by definition that they're unknown animals that we just don't know about. So
Oh, absolutely. If they
It's-
are what they purport to be, they are certainly unclassified critters.
yeah, man, for sure.
100%. And we don't know of anything that I'm aware of anyway that has tentacles or even long, slithery arms with pinchers at the end.
No, yeah.
No,
Not that I'm aware. Maybe some
that's-
deep sea squid
that's
or
like
something.
some weird like sci-fi shit right there.
It really
Like,
is.
You really don't expect that to happen.
But, right.
Well, I mean, that kid's got courage.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He went to the bottom of the well and he was like, "Scare the fuck out of me, I'm out of here."
Yep. But he
There you
did
go.
it.
Maybe.
Someone
No one
had
else.
to do it.
Dan Craig didn't do it.
No, not at all.
I'm not trying to like shame him publicly.
Well, I mean, you could see the thing from the top.
60 years later,
You
but
could literally see the thing from the top, like take it out. And also I would like to know, people go there to check this thing out. Did anybody else see this? Was anyone like, oh my God, there's the tentacle terror of Dan Craig's well?
I mean, allegedly enough people
Crap.
saw it to warrant the Indianapolis News writing about it. But I mean, wouldn't it be fucking funny if it became like a tourist trap and he's just trying to get fuckers down there? He's got like a
Wow.
weird hookup with like a bicycle pump and the shitty old ball and like
Into the ball and the hose,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, look at the monster
oh,
creeps.
no, watch out.
The first thing I was thinking of, and I don't know when these things came out, but remember the you could just hook up a hose to them, and they had little things. And there's like a clown
the
head.
sprinkler.
and it
Oh,
had
yeah,
like the
yeah, that's
tentacles.
right.
on
One
it.
actually
Shit.
looked like an octopus. I think it was
It
later
did,
than
yeah.
1960. There was definitely a kid's playtime jump around
Yeah, there was
sprinkler.
an octopus, like a clown,
And
some
the clown
other-
head, yes.
yeah,
and they
fuck.
had tentacles that else.
Yeah. If he just did this as some like trying to get a little cash on the side, like, come look at the weird squid creature in my well, and he just had some contraption down
Here's the
there.
thing, though. There are no reports of him charging people. There are no reports of him being happy about it. And furthermore, why would he have drained it himself and let the kid go down? Even if he removed
that's
the
true.
evidence,
Yeah.
well, then why wouldn't he remove the ball and the hose?
Yeah,
if he
that's true.
removed, and I don't think those playtime, they're probably from the 70s. I don't know. Someone out there surely knows, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty
I
sure
have
they
no
weren't
idea.
from 1960.
No.
There were sprinklers in 1960, but then again, how is he going to feed the water into it to make it move
Right, yeah.
without there obviously being a hose going into it?
Don't mind the hose.
So even though it's a
Like-
fun speculation that it's just some crazy Scooby-Doo antic to get a couple bucks from your neighbors, you can't rule it out completely, but I am not betting on
No,
that
there's
option.
not really there. He didn't make anything off of this except
I'm
have-
calling it cryptids.
I'm calling it cryptids as
Stamped.
well. There you go. 2 cryptids, Christopher.
Yeah, probably cryptids.
Oh, hey, you know
it could
what?
be the octopus
It's a-
thing though.
I'll take
but
it
it's probably
probably.
cryptids.
You know what? I'll take a probably,
Probably.
but I'll also say also maybe aliens. I mean, a mutant cryptid or a evolutionary cryptid are both cryptids, I think, in my definition of it. But those things at the fucking Plant 9, yeesh.
Yeah, no, that's something that you gotta like start looking at how like you treat like your all like your wastewater and shit. Like we can't have creatures growing in this fucker. That ain't cool.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's a new food source.
No. yeah. It turns into
squid
some-
bits.
Yeah,
really?
great.
Antifreeze squids?
Yeah, antifreeze
Yeah,
squid bits.
yeah,
And
there
fried-
you go.
and
Plant
antifreeze
9
squid po'
bits.
boy.
Oh, yeah, po' boy.
Nobody wants that.
Indiana Muck Monsters, Plant 9 Oil Pit Squid, and the Cistern Creeper. Thank you all so very much for joining us, Cryptonaut Podcast. Robert, we got some shout outs to do for the good folks that support us over there at patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast.
To my delight, and beginning with, and I'm definitely going to say this name right, Jacques Languiriche.
Nailed it.
Or Jacques Languiriche.
Is it
Or Jacques Langerich.
I think Jacques Langrich works.
All right, I'm going to go with Jack Lang, Rich.
Do you pronounce
Yeah.
the S in
See,
Jacques?
Jacques Cousteau? I don't know.
I mean, not usually.
No, I don't think you would.
So you don't? All right, so I'm fucking
So
that up
I don't
altogether.
think.
So the silent S.
I think so.
I mean, shit, I mean, all right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think we got it.
All right, yeah. Jacques Langerich.
Excellent. Thank
You
you,
got
Jacques.
11,000 shout-outs. If none of them were right, well, fucking, you know what to
just
do.
let us know. We appreciate it.
Hazard.
Thank you, Hazard.
Sad air horns.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, that totally takes me back to The Price is Right.
Yeah.
The saddest air horn I've ever
yeah.
experienced.
Oh, yeah. You done fucked up,
You
son.
done fucked
You done
up.
fucked up.
Okay. No, this threw me off for a second. I got this. Hoshe Echozilla.
Hoshe Ekozilla, thank you.
Yes, thank
like
you.
That, yeah,
I do like it. Interesting. And the cap's in the middle.
It's very cool.
A swarm of disgruntled locust.
Excellent. Cool.
Oh,
Nice.
I wonder why. When were they not happy?
Well,
Was something changed after they went to sleep and came back out?
they're just locusts.
Yeah, that wasn't the right year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Faulty interface.
Oh, I appreciate that. I want to thank you, Faulty Interface.
Bassoon boy.
Oh, the bassoon boy.
Nice.
Nice.
Play
I
it
love
hard, play it proud, bro.
There you go.
K. Henny.
Thank you, Kay Henny.
Last, most certainly not least, Justin Minker.
Thank you, Justin.
Boom.
And again,
Thank you all, every one of you who support us. You don't know how much it means to us. It is fucking life-giving,
And
literally. Thank you.
check that out over there again, patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. All the bonus content. Jesus, we got a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, it's piling up.
Yeah.
Like, it's starting to really pile up where I'm going through it and I'm like, my God. Like, between the audio and the video and the bonus videos and the other, I'm like, dude, it's
videos of pods of videos.
Yeah, there's so. I actually recently was talking to a listener, and they're like, "Yeah, I signed up for your Patreon, and like, I'm starting from square one, and it's a whole other show." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I know."
Yep.
Wait till you get to the videos, because then it gets even deeper. So there's so much
Yeah.
content there. There's the $1, there's a $5, and there's a $10 tier again. Patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast, and we're going to keep talking about this. But in November, starting November, do not do any financial transactions through the Apple iOS app. This is specific for iPhone, iPad, iOS, anything Apple. Do not sign up for the tier on that. Do not renew your tier. Just listen to the app. Use the app to listen to the episodes. Do whatever. Just open your web browser. Go to patreon.com in a web browser. Bypass all the Apple shit. Don't get hit with 30% charge. No one's happy about it. We're going to keep talking about it, but do not get hit with that charge because you do not need to pay Apple's exorbitant fees for app transactions. We got the merch at hellerspace.com. New Crypto 90 shirt.
Brand new shirt.
Yo.
All of us, as we looked in our senior pictures.
Yes. Someone
and,
said,
and we are lovely.
someone said that I look like every high school drug dealer. I was like, you're not wrong. It
Yeah.
kind of did look like
No,
that.
we are living cliches in a time capsule.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
Yeah, so that shirt is available again at hellerspace.com. All
Took
kinds of
a lot
merch.
of courage for us to come forward with this.
I mean, it's there. It's rocking. It's fucking great. I got the test print. Test print came out awesome. I'm super fucking stoked on it. And we got more t-shirts coming out too. We got one in
Yeah.
November and one in December. So check that merch. There's always sales going on. I think there's going to be a sale actually the week that this comes out. So you'll see it. I'll post on the socials that there's going to be a sale for the $16 tees and whatnot. So check those out. The Instas, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the TikToks, the socials, the medias, the YouTubes, every place is going on. We're there. It's happening. It's being done.
Yeah.
DMs, messages, comments, leave them all there. Like, comment, follow, share. I don't know what you do on the social
Contact
medias.
Chris or I, or even Mark for that matter. But Chris and I exclusively, I think, on Instagram is the best way.
Yeah.
I haven't been on Facebook in
No, I have not been on Facebook.
a very long time.
Like I'm in there,
Quite
but
a
I'm
long
not
time.
in there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm logged in.
Yeah, no, I go in there to post the stuff as the page every week. I'll
Sure.
post the stuff up, but that's about all I really do on Facebook. Because everyone's like, "Oh, I sent you a message here." I'm like, I don't do anything on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, just send me a text
I'm just saying,
message.
if you have, don't be offended. I will get in there intermittently and check.
Yeah, no, I
Best place,
occasionally check it.
I think for Chris and I especially, and probably you, Mark.
No, me
is
definitely.
Instagram.
It's Instagram, yeah, for sure.
And
Hit me up
then
there.
but it'll still be probably a week's wait for me because I'm fucking beat. But
yeah, it's okay.
trust.
It's all right, man. Social medias, it is what it is. But we're out there. We're doing it. Also, too, before we end this episode, we want to give a very special thank you
fuck
to one
yes.
of our Discord members,
Mhm.
Man or Rocket.
Only his mom knows.
Only his mom knows is he a man or is he a rocket. But yeah, he sent us these really cool books. They're called Tales from the Grid Square, volumes 1 and 2 by Nick Orton, and they're military-based paranormal experiences that people have. And yeah, he sent us. He's like, "Hey, I want you guys to maybe look at this. Use it. May have Rob use it for some, research stuff on the road to do some cool military-based, paranormal stuff." So thank you, Man or Rocket. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
The books, they're super cool. The illustrations are dope, and I've been
Yeah.
following Nick Orton's work forever. He's a great dude. Check him out on Instagram.
No, it's really cool.
He's got tons of cool shit.
My mom absconded away with volume 1 immediately and is like hammered through it and loves it. And she keeps telling me why do you not represent the military more? I'm like, Mom,
Dude,
I
this
just
is our
haven't.
time. This
I
is
mean,
our
we
time.
have. We talked the Black Sphere. There's been a couple.
Oh my
bits.
God, 100%.
The plane
yeah.
stuff. I mean, we love it, but there's certainly more to come. War spiders for one, and among other things, a little tease.
Oh, okay,
little
okay.
tease.
Okay.
Shit to come.
All right.
The spiders of war. Maybe I haven't officially named it yet.
Oh, the Spiders of War.
That might be a little catchier. Either way,
Okay, cool.
there's some crazy shit coming, but thank you, Man or Rocket, for the books. And I am very much looking forward to digging into that. And everyone who has ever sent a book, thank you. This library keeps expanding and the resource is great. And one of my great joys in life is when all the shit is said and done, settling down, putting on some old episodes of In Search Of or whatever the fuck else is on in the background and just digging into these books and taking copious notes. I mean, it's the job, but it's the joy. I love it. So thank you, one and all.
Yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate that. And speaking of Discord, if you are on the Patreon, sign up for the Discord.
Please.
Check it out.
Yeah, great community,
got all
great
kinds
people.
Of fun shit happening there.
Movie screenings and campfires and all sorts of stuff, plus just a really awesome, friendly, open community and of like-minded, souls. So do it up because, I mean, you're already paying, so it's yours.
You may as well just join the Discord.
Avail yourself of this awesome
it's super
community.
Fun. It's super good. And thank you, of course, to Hackety Bone Daddy and literally Jesus for holding that down for us. We appreciate that. There you have it. Thank you all so very much, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Peace out.
Yeah.
Keep
November coming fire.
Yeah, it is so unreal.
Yeah.
So unreal.
Oh my.
Yeah. It is Sam Hain season.
It is.
After the Misfits,
Samhain, but yes.
The Misfits are generally the Halloween season. Then I immediately jump into Sam Hain.
Well, yeah, because that's the post.
I'm all broody and leather jackets and weird hair.
And everything's bleak and overcast. The leaves are down.
Weird sweaters with cut off sleeves and boxing gloves and devil locks. And boots.
Yeah, no. All right, but you know what I got to say?
That's what dancing.
Mark's home.
That's what
Mark is back.
Yeah, the boxing gloves sealed the deal there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why he went through a weird boxing glove phase, but he did. He had those like gloveless or the fingerless,
like MMA.
Oh
gloves.
my god!
Dude,
when you were saying boxing gloves, I thought you literally meant the goofy. Oh, no, they're not goofy. They're essential when you're in the sport. But the puffy ass, like fucking Hulk smash boxing glove.
Danzig had a phase of like MMA gloves. Like if you watch Mother, the live one from like 90 whatever, he's got them on, and it just kind of like it works. It doesn't not work.
Sure.
Like in the Misfits when he wore like the leg guards for like that like umpires wear, like he wore it on his arm, and you're like, I kind of get it. I could use one of those in my everyday life.
That's great.
Yeah, we should all get one.
I'm not too proud.
That's what Jerry wore the legs. That's how he slides miles. Because he's wearing those things. The shin guards
there it is. That's
I've definitely cut the fingers off of gloves back in the 80s to try to do the faux fucking, I don't know, punk metal
something.
Fucking fingerless glove thing.
Don't ever let it die, Bobby.
Oh, I won't.
Just keep that
Now
fire.
I like my fingers warm. I wear full gloves.
Oh, no.
I'm an old man with chilly fingers, and I need them to write and draw and masturbate.
Yeah,
I would wear a snowsuit all fucking winter if I could.
Absolutely.
Just never take it out. I'd snowsuit.
A snowsuit?
Full body snowsuit.
Ralphie up from Christmas Story.
It'd be like a dune suit. I could just pee and shit in it.
Oh, you want a still suit?
I would live in it like all winter.
No, same. I go from, because I work outside quite a bit in the winter, I just have Under Armour and fucking other, what are those things called, like the thermals and everything, and they just smell like shit.
Oh sure.
I wash them and they smell like shit, and I wash them more and they smell like shit. Smell like shit and I'm cold.
I mean, that's par for course
for 8 months of the year.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's okay though. All right, man. Well, you know
times.
What? Happy
Good times.
Halloween. There it is.
Wow.
Happy Halloween, y'all. Peace.
Goodbye.